Hey guys, it's Tehi. We're gonna do the next boss for PTR testing. PTR testing went great today. LOL JK. Servers were trash. They canceled testing. So those first three bosses are gonna be done at a different time. Hasn't been announced yet, but they said they're still gonna do these next four bosses tomorrow, the 27th. So let's get into it, because this boss may take a while to explain, because there is a lot going on. So this is Forgeweaver Araz. Tanks. He does a tank hit that's just a stacking dot, so just taunt off each other when that happens. And like I said, there's a lot going on in this fight, so we're going to try to take it step by step. I'll try to explain it as best I can while also keeping the video relatively short. Okay, so first thing we got is Arcane Obliteration, and it's going to target one player, and it's going to be reduced by the amount of players that help soak it within 10 yards, so these players within the circle. It's going to summon an ad called an Arcane Echo, which is this guy. The reason why you care about these Arcane Echoes is if they get too close to the boss, like up here, they are going to take... they're going to do 75% more damage and take 90% less damage. So basically, almost unkillable and probably gonna kill your raid. So this ability, you want to run it away. Probably make groups of people. This is probably more of a ranged DPS healer soak thing rather than letting your melee come off, unless the health pool of this guy is so high that the melee do have to help out, which for safety's sake you should probably just focus on killing this ad above all else. The targeted player is going to get this astral mark, and what that means is the next Arcane Obliteration, the circle that comes out, they are not going to be able to soak. Yeah, the only question I really have about this boss ad thing getting close, it's called Mark of Power. I'm curious about this. I don't know if it's possible to have two ads up at the same time, and if it is, if they get too close to each other, are they gonna do the same to one another? Not sure. I assume you're not gonna be able to get two ads at the same time, at least not in Heroic, so hopefully not something we have to worry about. The next thing we're gonna talk about is these little arcane collector dealios. I assume it's going to be similar to the amps for Rick Reaver. They shoot waves that do big damage, so you just dodge them. It sounds very similar to Rick Reaver amplifiers. They cast a barrier on themselves, so they take 99% less damage, which kind of makes me think that when they do spawn, that they probably never go away, so you're probably in a rush against time to get to intermission. I'm not really sure how you get to intermission, but we'll talk to that in a little bit. So you reduce the amount of these guys that you get. I also don't know how they spawn, if there are preset locations in the room, so maybe they're in these four corners and one activates at a time throughout the encounter, or maybe all four of them activate to start the fight and just start doing everything. I'm not quite sure. I'm not even sure if there's even four. So that's something that we're going to find out in raid testing. They do ticking damage as well. That ability is called Arcane Siphon. It also does this ability called Astral Harvest, which is again just a targeted ability that does ticking damage on the targeted player, and then it summons an Arcane Manifestation. Raid Plan doesn't actually have anything for Arcane Manifestation, what this ad looked like, so you just get a smiley face. Then there's an ability, the Manifestation ad, just real quick on him, he's trying to get to the boss, so he's just trying to walk his way to the boss, so you want this to be far away from the boss as well. If he does come in contact with the boss, he comes CC immune and moves 100% faster. I assume the 100% faster thing is if you try to move the boss away from him, it's going to be basically impossible. That's the only thing that makes sense. So you just have to kill it before it reaches the ad. And it is CCable, so you can stun, you can probably root, you can probably Ursul's, all of those fancy things, knockbacks, whatever you want to do. There's an ability called Astral Surge, excuse me. It's a little bit difficult to read. The PTR servers are down right now, so I just have to use Wowhead. It makes it sound like if something hits full energy, whether it's this manifestation ad, which I doubt it is, I want to say it's these arcane collectors, that it just like raid wiping AoE. On Wowhead, I think it said it's like 12 million damage every 1 second or something like that. So it's just gonna wipe your entire raid. If not on the first tick, then probably by the second tick, minus immunities. Yeah, so there's a lot going on in this fight. The last thing is this Echoing Tempest. All it really does is it's a circle on the ground, but it targets players. If you're still inside of it when it blows up, you get stunned. So if this appears on you, you're just going to move outside like this, and that's it. So long story short about phase 1, if you get any mechanic really targeted on you, you just run it away from boss. One is a solo soak, one is a group soak. I assume the circles are going to be a small one for the solo soak, a big one for the group soak. Ads are going to spawn, kill the ads. I'm not sure if the Arcane Echo ad is CCable. It doesn't say so in the on the Wowhead post, but give it a shot. These Arcane Collectors seem like they're going to be super, super annoying, but it doesn't seem like we can kill them, at least from what I'm reading. And I think this is what phase 1 is going to look like. Again, Wowhead didn't make it abundantly clear this is what it's going to look like, but I'm working with the best I got here right now. Intermission 1, there's going to be 2 intermissions that happen back to back. The boss, I assume this is the Mana Forge up here at the top of the screen, and essentially it's going to like shoot a beam into the Mana Forge, which is like it giving its energy to it. It does a massive amount of damage if you step into this beam. The other thing I could see is like maybe he's actually in the center of the room, so it looks something like this. I'm not sure, but big beam, don't step in it. Pretty normal WoW mechanic. There's going to be a stacking raid-wide dot, so healers are going to have something they have to do. These Arcane Collectors still exist, and they shoot these little blast balls that are going to go around the room, so just dodge those. If you do get hit, it's going to leave a dot behind, so that's probably going to be a personal. There's an ability called Arcane Convergence, which is essentially when the boss does this focusing iris for long enough and gives it enough energy, there's going to be a huge AoE hit to the entire raid. I am not sure, but I wouldn't put it past Blizzard that if he gives enough energy, so let's say the Mana Forge hits 100% energy, that it's a raid wipe. Like everyone's just going to die. It's a one-shot thing. The other thing I could foresee is it hits 100% energy or some sort of, benchmark of energy, 25, 50, 75, so on and so forth, and it does raid-wide damage. That doesn't kill the raid, but does do a lot of damage. And then you have the Shielded Attendant that gets a shield. It does need tanked. Its tank mechanic is the more frequently it consecutively melees the same tank, the faster it hits. So, you and the co-tank will just have to figure out, okay, at this many stacks of the debuff, we tank swap or taunt swap, and then that same amount of stacks when I take back off of you, so on and so forth. Sounds like it's just one. It doesn't say anything about how close it can or cannot be to the boss. Sounds like it's just kind of an annoying ad. Doesn't really sound like it does like anything to affect the raid outside of annoying the tanks. And then there's the last ability called Mana Splinter, which is the boss's armor cracks, which stuns him and increases the damage he takes by 12% for 12 seconds, which I assume is going to end the intermission. I'm not 100% certain on that, but that would make the most sense. Stunning him would stop the beam, and then a damage amp is a pretty normal thing in WoW where like that ends a phase, especially in a scenario like this. So dodge balls, tank the Shielded Attendant. Sounds like you can put it next to the boss. I have no idea where the boss is going to be. I would assume he's either going to be at the front of the room or in the center of the room casting this beam. Don't stand on this beam. Healers heal the dot, and then pop off as soon as you stun him, and he gets us 100% damage amp. We go straight into intermission 2, which sounds like it's going to be super, super quick. Sounds like this Mana Forge thing is going to explode, or he's going to like erupt with a bunch of energy. It's either going to happen up here, or if he's tanked in the center of the room and does this beam in the center of the room, it's going to happen there. That's what I'm assuming, at least. Just get out of the circle. Pretty simple. The Shielded Attendant and the Arcane Collectors still exist in this phase, according to the Wowhead article. Probably the same things as normal. Just do what you gotta do. And yeah, that's kind of it. I expect this intermission 2 to be really, really quick. Like, as soon as this circle blows up, the intermission's done. Okay, the last phase. The boss is, like... The whole, like, concept of this boss is, like, he's doing everything to, like, help Dimensius, the last boss of the tier, get all of his power back. So it actually says like he's trying to feed himself to Dimensius, which I assume like give him all of his power. The biggest mechanic is this Dark Singularity, which does AoE raid-wide damage to the entire raid. I think it's going to last the entire phase, like there's no way to get rid of it. It's going to pull players in to it, and the longer you stay in this phase, the stronger this pull-in gets. It doesn't say the damage gets stronger over time. That wouldn't surprise me if it did, but the pull-in is definitely going to be. The last thing is, or sorry, not the last thing. The next thing is Hunger and Gloom. It targets a single player. It does dot damage, and when the dot expires, it's going to summon a Void Manifestation ad. Again, there's no icon for what that's going to look like, so again, you get a smiley face. It just walks to the Dark Singularity, like he's just trying to get here. So I assume it's just, hey, kill this guy before he gets there. Pretty easy. A confusing thing about the Wowhead article was it says there's an ability called Void Surge. It makes it sound like the Dark Singularity does it, so it's like it's just going to happen. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. It's going to do a lot of raid-wide damage, and then it leaves a dot on players. Tanks, I want to say it's the same phase 1 hit all over again. If not, then it's just this, the Shield Attendant is probably still up as well, so maybe it's just that one. Outside of that, there's circles to dodge throughout the entire fight, or at least in phase 1 and probably in phase 2 as well, so don't get hit by bad. There's a couple of questions I have. This boss is really cluttered in the Wowhead article, so it kind of sucks PTR's down right now, but there's some questions I have. There's 2 abilities called Echoing Tempest and Silencing Tempest, according to the Wowhead article, and they literally say the exact same thing. So it makes me think that like they're not, like it's one and the same ability, they're not any different, or they are 2 different abilities and the data mining just, they did a copy paste and it was wrong. And then the collectors, according to Wowhead, don't exist in the last phase. Like, at least they, like for stage 2, there's nothing that talks about collectors at all. So maybe the collectors disappear once we get to phase 2. So that annoyance is going to go away and everything's good. So quick recap, video's getting long. Phase 1, if you get a targeted ability, run it away. It's going to spawn an ad either when the dot falls off or when it goes off. There's one that's a soak, that's Arcane Obliteration. That's probably going to be a larger circle. The one that's a solo is Astral Harvest. That's probably going to be a smaller circle. Kill these ads, don't let them get close to the boss. These Arcane Collectors are going to be super annoying. They shoot waves around the room, probably similar to Rick Reverb. And they do raid-wide damage, and they have a shield that makes them take 99% reduced damage, so they are not gonna die. When we go to Intermission 2, watch out for this beam, don't stand in it, that's bad. Shield Attendant has to get tanked. Dodge little balls that fly around the room. To get out of this, I assume you're gonna have to do a certain amount of damage to the boss. He's gonna get stunned. He takes a damage amp of 100% for 12 seconds, and then we go into Intermission 2. Probably gonna be very quick. Get out of the circle, Shield Attendant, and these Arcane Collectors still exist. Nothing new there, and the raid-wide dot is also going to keep happening. Then we go into the last phase. He's trying to feed himself to the boss, or to Dimensius. So this is probably a race against the time phase. This is probably where less is going to happen if you're trying to actually kill it. This Dark Singularity is going to pull players in. It gets stronger over time. It also does damage. There's a targeted ability that is a solo targeted ability. You don't have to share it with friends. It's going to spawn an ad. It's going to walk to the Dark Singularity. You want to kill it before it gets there. And yeah, that's about it. Just survive. We're going to do the Soul Hunters next and try to pump out the next 2 videos as well. So thanks, guys.